Hello, welcome back to the Sports Map. Got my predictions for the Men's March Madness Tournament Challenge ready. Now, in the first round of East, I'll have Duke beating Siena, which is one of my favorites, as well as TCU beating Ohio, St. John's beating Northern Iowa, Kansas beating California Baptist, which interesting they're both in the men's and women's this year, as well as Louisville beating South Florida, Michigan State will beat North Dakota State, UCSF will beat UCLA, and UConn will beat Furman. Now the next round will proceed with Duke beating TCU and Kansas beating St. John's, as well as Louisville beating Michigan State and UConn beating UCSF. Now Duke will then beat Kansas, as well as the case that UConn will beat Louisville, so Duke and UConn will meet as Duke will ultimately win. Now going across to the west side, Arizona is going to beat Long Island, Villanova is going to beat Utah State, Wisconsin will definitely win against High Point, Arkansas will win against Hawaii, and BYU will once again beat the first four teams, which I unfortunately had no faith in any of the first four teams this time around on both sides of the tournament. Now Gonzaga will definitely win against Kennesaw State, Miami will win against Missouri, and Purdue will win against Queens. Now Arizona will lose to Villanova in an upset, Arkansas will beat Wisconsin, Gonzaga will beat BYU, and Purdue will beat Miami. Villanova will beat Arkansas, as well as Gonzaga will beat Purdue, but Gonzaga will ultimately win against Villanova in the Elite Eight. Now going to the South, Florida will beat the next first four team, Clemson will beat Ohio, Vanderbilt will beat McNeese, and Nebraska will beat Troy. VCU will meet North Carolina, Illinois will beat Penn, and St. Mary's will win against Texas A&M, while Houston will win against Idaho. Now the second round will be Florida will be losing to Clemson, Vanderbilt will beat Nebraska, VCU will beat Illinois, while St. Mary's will beat Houston. Now Clemson is going to win against Vanderbilt, and VCU will beat St. Mary's in an upset. I'll see that VCU will beat Clemson in the long term. Now in the Midwest, Michigan will beat the last first four team, Georgia will win against St. Louis, Texas Tech will win against Akron, Alabama will win against Hofstra, Tennessee will beat the last first four team, with Virginia winning against Wright State, Kentucky winning against Santa Clara, and Iowa State winning against Tennessee. Now Michigan State is going to beat Georgia, Texas Tech will beat Alabama, and Tennessee will beat Virginia, while Kentucky meets Iowa State. Now Michigan will win against Texas Tech, Kentucky will win against Tennessee, and then they will ultimately win against Michigan. Now for a Final Four matchup in the men's, I see a Gonzaga-Kentucky matchup and a Duke-VCU matchup, where Duke and Gonzaga will ultimately play each other in the championship, and Gonzaga will win. That's usually my main prediction. So that's my prediction for this all. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, and share. Help get this video up to 200 likes, and tell me what you think will be the likely outcome. Thank you again for watching.